Press Play Lifestyle Inspired is a podcast that provides inspirational content on topics to help you find the resources, tools, and support that you need to be your best inspired self. I'm your host, Jackie Schwab. Power of rinse and repeat. Strength in the mundane. It's funny how we all know that there's power in repetition and in creating strong habits. We also know that we should eat our veggies and drink lots of water for optimal health, but we don't do that either. So what is the real power of repetition and why don't we do it? The real power in repetition. So what is the power in repetition? Is it the same thing as building a habit? The real power in repetition, as far as I'm concerned, is that it helps us learn and master skills. Just consider when you started learning how to play an instrument. Little known fact, I play the accordion. So when I started playing the accordion, I was given a series of exercises that my very sweet and very old teacher expected me to practice every day of the week until the next lesson. $50 million question here. Did I practice every day? Heck no. I was a kid. I thought I had a lot better things to do than learn to drink more beer polka. Consequently, I'm a pretty terrible accordion player. Yet, if I would have mastered those exercises, I would have been given even more difficult exercises to try. Perhaps you didn't learn to play an instrument. Maybe you wanted to learn a new language. I took several years of French in high school. By repeating unfamiliar words or using them in sentences, it became more natural for me to speak French. Again, I didn't stick with it, and I know like one word now. Merci. Okay, so I'm not looking all that great here. I get it. So let's try another skill. Well, what about sports? Well, I loved volleyball as a kid. I played long enough to get reasonably good. I was on varsity for a year. I was able to be a coach for my daughter's middle school team. As coaches, we spent time helping the other players master skills like hitting and setting. We repeated drills to help them get muscle memory until it became second nature. And when the players mastered a skill, they started to do it without even having to think about doing it. It was at this point that the skill became who they were versus what they did. They were able to be different without having to remember to be different. At this point, the tasks stopped being repetitive tasks and became habits. I'll be honest here. I am not a master at volleyball. I helped middle school kids. I'm not even skilled enough to help the high school kids. But I can help them. One more example here. Maybe you didn't do sports or play an instrument or learn a new language. So at this point, I'm starting to wonder what you did do. But well, anyway, most of us in the U.S. anyway went to school at about, say, age 5 or 6 and were given homework, and it was often in the form of repeated tasks. So remember multiplication tables over and over and over again until you thought you might kill yourself or literally be injured by the boringness. Yeah, that, my friends, is the power of repetition. I bet nearly all of you were able to add, subtract, and multiply and divide. Or hopefully. You can probably rattle off the multiplication facts with very little effort. That, my friends, that is the power of repetition. So if that's the case, then why do we quit? If we know it's really powerful, then why do we quit? Why do we get so frustrated? Well, the biggest problem, to me anyway, is that we get mercilessly bored. Yet, we love new experiences and the excitement that comes from them. So, we must repeat a task over and over. We'd rather be doing, anything else. And it's not our fault, really. Our brains want novelty. It wants excitement. And since we would rather be doing something new and exciting, it makes it hard and difficult to bring ourselves to practice an instrument or repeat the same words over and over again to learn a new language. So what can we do to persevere? So if we know the power of repetition and we know that boredom is a big reason we quit, what do you do about it? Well, the first thing is limit the amount of time you spend doing the boring stuff. It's better to practice this task in a little short spurts consistently than to try and put several hours into the repetitive task. The key is really about consistency. Try to work on a new skill for maybe like 15 to 20 minutes a day and then stop. Working on it for 4 hours once a week, totally not the same impact as just 15 minutes a day. What if we do get really good at a skill? Now what? One of the other roadblocks that often comes up from repeating is that we tend to get good at it. I wish that was the case with the volleyball thing, but guess not. So once we're really, really good at something and once we stop doing it, we hit a plateau. I hate them. You hate them. When you repeat something to the point that you're good at it, you feel satisfied that you can do the task. And then you try to advance to a new level, you seem to revert to the previous level. Have you ever hit a plateau? Ever stop losing weight after making a lot of progress? Well, it might be because you're, normal. Yep, totally normal. You created a habit so strong that now you have essentially to add to that habit in the form of a habit chain. Break the habit, make the habit, create a new one. The only real way to get past a plateau is to keep what you have and then chain on a new thing. And some people find that if you spend some time thinking about how great it is that you felt amazing when you first became skilled at the previous task, and then try to imagine how great you will feel after you master that new one, that you could get past the plateau. Me, I just revert to the old habit. I'm using habit chaining. Seems to be the only thing that works for me. We're not all the same. I personally find it easier to keep doing something well and then add on a little new thing than to totally change something that's working. We all have different methods though, so you do you. What about losing those skills? One thing about skills is that if you don't use them, you lose them, right? You lose the ability to do them well. Sometimes you might have to revisit a previously mastered skill. For example, after you mastered learning the basic verbs in French or Spanish, you might forget a few. The good news is that when you get rusty, you can revisit the skill. It'll likely take much less time to get back to where you used to be because you're used to that same repetition that you did before. So the power of repeating or repetition versus building a habit, are they the same thing? Yeah? No? I guess it depends on your point of view. You can repeatedly walk, but do you consider walking a habit? Probably not. I think we often associate habits with something that we repeatedly do without thinking. You can use the power of repeat to create a habit, yes, yet you don't necessarily create a habit of everything that you repeatedly do. And really, who gives a crap anyway? If you want to learn something, break it up into 15 or 20-minute chunks and do it every dang day. When you get good at it, add another habit to the end of that one, and you'll begin a chain of habits that will likely change your life for the better. Want some more support or accountability in creating your new habits? Check me out at JackieSchwab.com or Coach.me, Press Play Lifestyle. I run an accountability program for building habits and breaking bad ones. So best of luck to you in creating your new habits. And if I'm not the right coach for you, there's hundreds of coaches on Coach.me and they're all amazing. All right. Thanks a lot, guys. Bye.